Hi and welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for joining me here today. Today I'm going to be talking about my favorite products from July and August. Now I haven't been able to film very much this summer, which is pretty common for me during the summertime because I really prioritize hanging out with my family over the summer, and this summer was no exception because both of my boys were home for the summer and they actually both had their girlfriends with them over the summer, so we had a packed house. So it was quite busy this summer, but I am really excited to be able to sit down with you here today and talk about these products. Another thing that happened this summer was for the bulk of, let's see, when was it? I think it was the end of July and about maybe the first few weeks of August, we took in a stray kitten. She was about 9 months old is what the vet estimated. Anyway, she appeared on our side yard, and like I said, it was about the end of July, and she was the sweetest, most beautiful kitten. And we were hoping that it would work out to keep her. We kept her in this extra room that we have upstairs, which is kind of like our little library and my quasi beauty room. It's where I keep a lot of my makeup. But anyway, we have this extra room. That's where we kept her. So she was separated from the cat that we already have. Many of you know about Saul, our cat that we got about 6 years ago. So anyway, we kept them separated and we did a very, very slow integration. But when it was time to bring the two cats together, it just did not work out at all. Saul was really not having it in terms of having another cat in the house. And we named the new cat Fumi. And honestly, I don't really think that Fumi was having it. Being in a house with another cat, she maybe had issues with sharing resources because I don't know how long she was abandoned for. Basically, she was left on the side of our house. We found an empty can of cat food, so we knew that she really was abandoned. Somebody just left her there with this can of cat food, probably hoping for the best that somebody would take her in, which we did. So like I said, we took her to the vet. We actually got her spayed. We got her vaccinated, and we really did do our best to try to integrate her into our family, but it just was not working out with the cat that we already have. So luckily we found a very loving home for her, which was not hard to do because as you can see, she is a gorgeous, gorgeous cat. Super sweet, super loving, but just was not going to get along with another cat. So she's in a home that does not have another cat, so she is going to be queen of that house and very loved. And another thing cat related that happened is Saul actually got really sick at the beginning of the summer. It was early July. He actually got really sick, so he had to spend a couple of nights in the kitty ICU, which was really, really sad and really scary. So we had a very cat-focused summer, and that was another reason why I didn't want to traumatize Saul too much by bringing in another cat. It worked out okay for the first 3 weeks that Fumi was with us, but I just did not want to put him through too much trauma because he had already been through a pretty traumatic experience at the beginning of the summer. So anyway, it all wrapped up really nicely. Fumi's in a great home. Saul is actually doing really great right now. He seems to be very healthy. He seems to have gotten over the fact that there was another cat in our house. He seems happy, healthy, very well adjusted. So even though I am quite sad that it didn't work out to have Fumi stay with us because I did really fall in love with her for those 3 weeks that she was with us, I am very, very happy that she is with her new family. But anyway, let's go ahead and dive into these products. The first thing I'm going to talk about is not a product. It's actually a tool that I have mentioned a few times on my channel already. And this is the Newa Device. And this is a clinical grade radio frequency device that is going to help your skin renew production of collagen and elastin. And as many of you are probably aware, collagen and elastin are proteins that are responsible for your skin's firmness and elasticity. So the reason why I'm including this in my favorites from July and August is I have actually been using this again for these past 2 weeks. And how I use this device is I've been using this about every 4 to 6 months. And what I mean by that is for me personally, every 4 to 6 months, I use this as a treatment. So when you're in the treatment phase with the Newa Device, is you use it 4 to 5 times a week. and then you can move on to the maintenance phase. Now, I am not super consistent with using really any tool as a maintenance tool. What ends up happening with me is I'll get excited about a tool, I'll really enjoy using it, and then I typically end up dropping off with it. So the reason why I like the Newa Device is I will use it every 4 to 6 months as a treatment. So right now I am in the phase of using it for a month, where I'm using it 4 to 5 times a week. And what I find is when I'm seeing a little bit more of my jowls and I want them to get a little bit tighter and a little bit more firm is when I'm like, okay, yeah, it's time to bust out the Newa Device. And I find that's been happening every 4 to 6 months. And I do notice a difference when I use this device. Now, as I mentioned in the past, it's not like a miracle cure. You're not gonna look like you've gotten one of those little tucks or facelifts or whatever is hot right now that people are talking about. It's not going to be taking the place of plastic surgery, but I do feel like I notice a little bit of a lift, and I feel like I'm not noticing the jowls or marionette lines as much as I did prior to using it. So just to reiterate, I like using this every 4 to 6 months as a treatment. That is how I've been using it. I do notice a difference. It's not like a miracle tool, but I do notice a difference. Now, I'm not gonna do a demo in this video because that would make this far too long, but I will say this is incredibly easy to use. I don't like tools that are fussy or that have too many bells and whistles or attachments or whatever, but this is very, very easy to use. So just to save on time, I'm not gonna demonstrate how I use the Newa Device in this video. I do think I have B-roll just to show you me using this just so that you can see how easy it is to use this, but I will just reiterate, this is very, very easy to use. I typically do not like tools that have a lot of bells and whistles or feel like they are too fussy. I definitely will not be using a tool that feels like it is too fussy, like I said. So this is very simple, very easy to use. And that's why I feel like it's become a regular part of my routine. Like I said, not a daily routine, but something I'm going to reach for every 4 to 6 months as a treatment. Like I said, when I am noticing my jowls becoming a little bit more prominent. And I almost forgot to mention that I do have a code with Newa. I believe it is for 15% off. I'm gonna have to go and refresh my memory on that, but I will link that down below. So if you are interested in getting one of these, you can definitely use my code to save a little bit of money. Now, moving on to actual products, one of my favorites from these past couple of months is a new release from Merit. This is their Great Skin Double Cleanse. And you can see this is a bi-phase product, so you do need to shake it up. And then of course, once you've shaken up, it is ready to use, and you'll see that it has a pump dispenser. And you can tell that it's quite thick because the foam is not sliding down my hand. Trust me when I say that this foam feels very silky, very smooth. It's unlike any other foaming cleanser that I've ever used in that it feels very luxurious, like I said, very silky. And I got a little bit ahead of myself in diving into the texture. I want to let you know that it does remove sunscreen, it removes makeup, it has a little bit of gentle exfoliation, and as I was mentioning, because it's so silky and so smooth, it does leave your skin feeling very soft, very smooth. It does not leave your skin feeling stripped at all. There is PHA in here, which is polyhydroxy acid, so that's what's going to provide that gentle exfoliation, but it also leaves your skin feeling very hydrated. There's also oat-derived surfactants in here, so as I've been mentioning, it is very gentle on the skin. So I have really been enjoying this cleanser. As many of you know, I really enjoy oil cleansers, but I also do like foaming cleansers. When I've been outside working out, and I've got sunscreen on, I've maybe got a tinted moisturizer on that has SPF in it, or I've been in the gym, or I've just been sweating a lot, feeling kind of grimy, I often like to reach for a foaming cleanser or using it in conjunction with an oil cleanser. So using an oil cleanser first, following it with a foaming cleanser. So I always like to have a foaming cleanser on hand, and I am really pleased that Merit came out with one because I feel like it's really unique and it's also very utilitarian. So I've very much been enjoying the Merit Great Skin Double Cleanse, and it retails for $32. Another product that I've really been enjoying this summer is from a brand called Symbiome, and this is their restorative cream. It's called the One Restorative cream. Now this brand is completely new to me. They reached out to me and asked if they could send me some products, and they did send me 2 products. I chose 2 of them. I chose this cream and I also chose their cleanser. Now I've been enjoying the cleanser, but I haven't been absolutely loving it. I think it's nice, but I don't feel like it's worthy of being on my favorites over these past couple of months. But the Restorative cream definitely has become a favorite of mine. Now this brand's focus is on post-biomic fermentation. Now I'm going to read to you what they mean by post-biomic fermentation or biomic fermentation. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. And I'm just going to go ahead and read this directly from their website. They say, our proprietary fermentation of our super ingredients utilize a unique blend of ancestral native microbes to unlock and optimize the bioavailability of valuable nutrients and enzymes. This process breaks down our biomolecules so that they are more readily absorbed by skin and done without high temperatures, preventing degradation of quality ingredients. And then they go on to talk about their proprietary cold emulsion process that eliminates heat, allowing us to create sustainable, supercharged biointact creams with as few as 3 ingredients that deliver nutrients, exosomes, enzymes, and peptides. This allows us to preserve the potency and rich biological integrity of our natural ingredients while optimizing skin benefits. And in this cream, there truly are only 3 ingredients. There's Sonoma leaf oil, lactobacillus ferment, and dehydroacetic acid. So I cannot speak to everything that they're mentioning here on their website in terms of their proprietary formulations, but what I can speak to is this is a very, very lovely cream. Whoop! Kind of squirted it out a little bit aggressively there, but I can tell you that this cream feels very, very beautiful. I was really, really surprised by this cream. I have been using it during the day. So as you guys know, I absolutely love the Alpen Beauty Melt Moisturizer. That has become a staple of mine that I love to use during the day. But I will say that I have been using this one a little bit more than the Alpen Beauty. I find that this is really easy to reach for in terms of it being a pump bottle. This is very convenient for me to reach for. So I've been using this almost every single day. I don't find it to be quite thick enough for me in the nighttime, but as I said, I absolutely love this during the day. It's really got that perfect texture and thickness and emollients that I like during the day, kind of like that lightweight day cream, and it's also unscented. So for those of you who enjoy an unscented product, you will appreciate this. I will say though, it is quite expensive. It's $112.50, I believe, so quite expensive. But for those of you who like that eco luxury branding and you appreciate a very, very small ingredient list, then this might be a brand that you would be interested in. And as I was mentioning in terms of the cleanser, I like the cleanser. I think it's really nice. It is a thick kind of gel-like cleanser that turns milky when you emulsify it in water. So it's very lovely, but it just didn't strike me as anything particularly special. Whereas the restorative cream, the one restorative cream really did impress me quite a bit. So as I mentioned, if you're looking for something that has a very minimal ingredient list, especially if maybe you have allergies and you really like the elegant packaging and you kind of like the eco luxe type of products, this might be something that you would be interested in. Moving on to a brand that I kind of forgot about, to be honest. This is a brand that was around quite a bit at the beginning of the kind of green beauty movement many years ago. And this is Korres, Korres. And they reached out to me and asked if they could send me some products. And one of the products from them that I picked out is their Greek Yogurt Wide Awake Eye Gel. This retails for $32, and I have been so impressed by this product. If you suffer from puffy eyes in the morning, this is definitely a product you might want to look at. This has Greek yogurt in it, and I believe the Greek yogurt in here is a powder. It doesn't feel powdery at all. I'll show you on my hand here. I'm rubbing it in very copiously, and you'll see that it is actually just sort of like a clear kind of serum. So it's right there on my hand. So hopefully you can see that, or essentially not see that which is a reason why I really, really like using this, especially in the morning, because I can put it on in the morning and then it just basically disappears. So that's why I really like using this in the morning and also at nighttime. And also I really like it because it is very efficacious. It does a great job at depuffing the eyes. But I kind of jumped ahead again. Let's get back to the ingredients. So it's got the Greek yogurt in here, which has pre and probiotics as well as vitamins and minerals. There's also some natural peptides in here as well as caffeine and coffee extract. So I think the caffeine in here is pretty high up on the ingredient list. So I think that's why it is so effective. So hopefully you can tell I have really fallen in love with this product, so much so that it's actually decreased my need for using the clean circle under eye gels, which I actually still really do love a lot. But I've been reaching for this more because I just have this in the bathroom. So when I wake up in the morning, I just roll this under my eyes and it's been doing a really great job. If I feel like I do have extra puffy eyes, then I can put the clean circle eye gels on top of this, and that does a really good job. But anyway, really am loving the Korres Greek Yogurt Wide Awake Eye Gel. Like I said, it's $32, so I feel like that's actually a really reasonable price for what it does. Let's go ahead and move on to some body products. I have completely fallen in love with Soft Services. Now, they also reached out to me to see if they could send me some products, and I got to pick out the ones that I wanted. So I picked out 3 things. I picked out their buffing bar, and this is what the buffing bar looks like. As you can see, it's gotten some love from me, and I really, really love this buffing bar. So you get 2 buffing bars for $30, and I set it on top of a soap saver so it doesn't get all gunky in the shower. This is the box that it comes in, and I'll show you what the other one looks like unused. So it comes wrapped up very nicely. So the packaging is very, very impressive. And the buffing bar is used for rough patches. It can be used for KP, ingrown hairs, and how I have been using it is on the backs of my legs. So when I shave the backs of my thighs, I do tend to get ingrown hairs. So that's how I've been using this. I also use it on the bottom of my feet, on the calluses that I get on the bottom of my feet, and then I've also been using it on my elbows. It is a pretty intense buffing bar, so I wouldn't suggest really going at it hard all over your whole body. You would want to be very, very gentle on your skin. If you're using it all over your body, it's definitely made more for rough patches where you have ingrown hairs. So you do want to be on the gentle side with this buffing bar because it is on the intense side. Another amazing product that they have is their clearing mist. And this is a medicated breakout tonic. It has salicylic acid in it, niacinamide, and tea tree oil. This was made to help you if you have acne on your back, your chest, your neck, or your butt. It's great for workout related bumpy skin, and it also is helpful for patches of discoloration. Now, I have been using this for the same reason why I got the buffing bar, for those ingrown hairs on the backs of my legs, and this has worked better than any other product that I've used on the backs of my legs. Now, I have used products that are typically made for the face that have AHAs in it, and then I'll just go ahead and use that on my legs. But this is designed specifically for the skin, and it is amazing. And I also feel like it has helped with discoloration on my elbow as well. So I've really been targeting those areas, and it is really incredible. So I highly, highly recommend the clearing mist from Soft Services. It is $26 for the bottle. And then I also chose the Carea cream. This is their daily softening lotion. It is fragrance free, and this is their lightweight body lotion. This is $40. So I would say this is a little bit on the spendy side, very similar to the Prequel daily lotion that they have. So I would say these are quite comparable. This is a little bit more on the expensive side when compared to the Prequel, but I will say that this is a little bit more elegant. The bottle is more elegant. The pump is a little bit more elegant. The presentation overall is just a little bit more elevated. And in terms of the texture, like I said, they're quite comparable, but this is just a little bit more emollient, and there's no silicones in this product. So if you are averse to silicones, you want to avoid silicones, then I would steer you towards Soft Services. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous lotion. I absolutely love it. I have this in the bathroom and I have been using this pretty much every time I get out of the shower. I'm just very, very drawn to this product. It's just the perfect texture. Very similar, like I said, to the prequel, very similar to the CV Skin Labs lotion that I love. But like I said, this one is completely fragrance free. This is a gorgeous body lotion to mix with a body oil to create your own emulsion. So like I said, I cannot rave enough about these products that I receive from Soft Services. Absolutely love them. We'll definitely be getting them again in the future. Now, staying on the body theme, I have 2 products to talk to you about from Fre. I've talked a lot about Fre on my channel. I am absolutely in love with their Glow Me SPF for the face. That is a tinted sunscreen, sort of like a tinted moisturizer sunscreen, and it comes in SPF 30 and also SPF 50, and that has become a staple of mine. Absolutely love that product. So when I saw that they also have SPF for the body, I definitely wanted to give it a try. So this is their Protect Body 100% mineral sunscreen. And this is water resistant for 80 minutes. And just to let you guys know, Fre does not use any SPF boosters. If you're familiar with what I mean by that, that means that there is no butyl octyl salicylate in this product or any other kind of SPF boosters. Now, in the video where I talked about my favorite mineral sunscreens, I mentioned, when I was talking about Fre, I mentioned that they don't use any SPF boosters, and I spoke a little bit about SPF boosters, so I don't wanna go into it too much here, but just to let you all know that there is some controversy around these SPF boosters. Apparently there's an FDA loophole that allows these ingredients such as butyl octosalicylate to be classified under mineral sunscreens, but apparently they act more like chemical sunscreens. So that's sort of it in a nutshell. A lot of people think that these SPF boosters should not be able to be in mineral sunscreens, or that if it is in a mineral sunscreen, it should not be classified as 100% mineral sunscreen. So do what you will with that information. For me personally, I'm gonna go ahead and continue to use mineral sunscreens that do have butyl octosalicylate in it, but I do actually appreciate that these Fre products do not have SPF boosters in it. So if you are a person who is looking for a mineral sunscreen without SPF boosters, definitely look into Fre. So getting back to the Fre Protect Body, this obviously is a favorite of mine. I really love how it spreads over the skin. It has a beautiful feeling. I love the emollients of this product, so it's not streaky, it doesn't skip over the skin. It absorbs very nicely. So you can see here on my skin that it does not leave hardly any white cast at all. And you'll see here, as I'm rubbing it in, any hint of white cast disappears. Now, I can't speak to those of you who have darker skin than me, but for me, let's see, there's no white cast. Which also then brings me to the other Fre product. This is their Bronze Me Sun-Kissed Mineral Sunscreen. This is also SPF 50, and you can use this on your face or body. So if you do have darker skin than I do, you can add a little bit of the Bronze Me, and that would help mitigate any white cast. And again, this has no SPF boosters in it, and it is so beautiful. And I have used this on my face, and it works great on my face as well. And it's just really, really nice. So you could do a couple of pumps of each if you wanted to, if you're concerned about white cast. And they work beautifully together. As I mentioned, you can use the Bronze Me on your face. It's an incredibly versatile product. So these two have become huge favorites of mine over the summer, and I'm just thrilled that I have found another SPF for the body that I enjoy using personally and that I can recommend to you all. And I also don't want to forget to tell you that I do have a really good code with Fre. It's 25% off. I believe the code is TrishV25. So I do feel like the Fre products are very reasonably priced. So 25% off makes it an even better deal. And I also do want to mention that there is a little bit of a scent when it comes to these products. The face product, the Glow Me, the tinted moisturizer that has the SPF in it, has a little bit of a citrusy scent, whereas the body SPF has a little bit more of that kind of like beachy, almost ylang ylang kind of a scent. And I typically do not love ylang ylang, but this one is very mild, very tasteful, and has a little bit of a nice like tropical kind of beachy scent. So I really like it, and I am very sensitive to scents, and I am not offended by this at all, and I actually really enjoy it. Staying on the topic of SPF boosters, these are not particular favorites of mine over these last couple of months, but I just wanted to add sort of like an addendum to that SPF video that I did where I was talking about my favorite mineral sunscreens. Again, these are not particular favorites of mine, but I just wanted to mention two SPFs that do not have the SPF boosters in it. One of them is the Blissoma Photonic. This is a 30 SPF that does not have butyl octyl salicylate in it or any kind of SPF booster. And the other one is the one from Le Prunier. So these were both sent to me, and I wanted to let you know that there are no SPF boosters in it. I do like both of these a lot. I think they are both beautiful products, but neither of them possess the emollients that I really, really enjoy. And they're also not tinted. I tend to like a little bit of tint in my SPF moisturizer, and I tend to like a little bit more emollient. So what I have been doing when I use either of these is I do add a little bit of the Fre Bronze Me to it. So that helps add a little bit of emollients, and of course it adds a little bit of that bronzy glow. So I am able to make both of these work, but I wouldn't say they're favorites of mine because I do have to tinker a little bit of the formula to make it work for me. But I wanted to mention both of these in this video for those of you who are looking for SPFs that do not have the SPF boosters in them. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to another big favorite of mine over these last couple of months, and this is the Ceremonia hair mask. This is their Mascara de Guava. This is almost 8 ounces and it retails for $34. And I actually have a new discount code with Ceremonia. They just sent me a discount code. So it is Trish20 for 20% off. So I think that's a great discount with them. I really, really love this hair mask. It has a really lovely scent, obviously, of guava. Now, I think I spoke about their perfume mist or a hair mist in a previous video. I'm not actually sure about that, or if I'm remembering correctly. Don't really love it as a mist, but in terms of their hair care, I really love having this scent in my hair, and it does dissipate quite quickly. I really love their shampoo and their regular conditioner, but this one really rises to the top as a favorite, and I've actually repurchased this on my own. I think this was maybe sent to me in PR, but like I said, I love it so much that I purchased a full size on my own. In terms of my hair being on the thick side, on the wavy side, that is prone to frizzies, especially around my hairline, this is just perfect for me. A lot of times what I'll do is I will use my Giovanni 50/50 that I get in bulk at my local market. So I'll use that through the majority of my hair, and then I'll take a little dollop of this and I'll put it around the front of my hair and then a little bit on the end. So I'm not necessarily using this over my whole head of hair in every single shower that I take. I will sometimes, but for the most part, I'm just using it on the front of my hair and, like I said, on my ends, and it just works perfectly. So anyway, absolutely love this hair mask. Like I said, I love the scent of it. I think it's well priced, even better with my code. So highly recommend this hair mask, and the fact that I have repurchased it on my own hopefully lets you know that I absolutely love it. And then just real quickly, I just want to wrap up with some of my makeup favorites over these last couple months. As I mentioned, because we were fostering this little kitty, I wasn't able to get into the room where I have all of my makeup, or the majority of my makeup. It was really difficult to go in and out of that room. So I just used the makeup that I have in my bathroom. So basically the only thing that I was really using on my face over these last couple of months was either the Fre Tinted Moisturizer with the SPF or my Josh Rosebrook Nutrient Day Cream, which is tinted with SPF 30. So that's pretty much what I was using on my face almost every day. So those both are staples, and I've mentioned those many times. So those are more just like staples that I just wanted to let you know that I've just been using all the time throughout the summer. But one makeup item that really has stood out as a favorite of mine over these last couple months, and this is not going to be a big shock, is the Victoria Beckham eyeliner in Cinnamon. I use this almost every day this summer, definitely over these past couple of months, and I just continue to love this eyeliner. I used to wear bronze all the time, but over the summer I have just found that cinnamon is the perfect color. It's such a beautiful warm brown, and then when you smudge it out, which I like to do on my top lid, it's the perfect color for me. It just has this beautiful warm bronziness to it. It's just such an easy eyeliner to reach for. I use it in my waterline. In fact, I've got it in my waterline today. As I was just saying, I use it on my upper eyelid really close to my lash line and smudge it out, which is what I did today. I actually do have some La Bouche Rouge eyeshadow on my lids today as well. But just as far as an everyday look goes, I will just wear this eyeliner from Victoria Beckham, and then I put on some mascara, and I've been reaching a lot for the Victoria Beckham mascara, so this has become a big favorite of mine over this last month or so, and that's what I have on my eyes today. So I'll just put on my tinted moisturizer with SPF. I'll put on some eyeliner. I put on the mascara, both from Victoria Beckham. And then another easy reach for me continues to be the Flush Balms from Merit. I've been reaching for either terracotta or bespoke. Terracotta is this beautiful, they call it a warm cream, but yeah, it's just this beautiful creamy brown color that I typically use as a bronzer, just kind of all over my face. Super, super pretty, so easy to use. And then bespoke is this medium pink brown. And that's actually what I have on my cheeks today. I think I actually have on the Westman Atelier bronzer kind of all over my face. And then I put bespoke pretty high up on my cheekbones today. And I have to say, I was actually kind of surprised that bespoke worked so well for me this summer. I really enjoyed it in the fall and winter months, and then I just kind of forgot about it. But then, like I said, when I was sort of locked out of all my makeup options this summer, and this is what I had available to me in my bathroom, and so I started reaching for it. It really did work out nicely over the summer. Kind of that pinky brown shade worked well with my tan skin. So I just kept reaching for it and really fell in love with it over these last several weeks, you know, mostly for August. And then on my lips, I've really fallen back in love with the Eadem Burnt Malai. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. This is their Le Chouchou balm. You guys know I love these balms so much. And you can see this has been well loved. This is what I have on my lips today. And this color is just really, really beautiful. For me, it's one of those my lips but better type of shades. So, so easy to use. I just absolutely love this color. And again, it's one of those situations where this is what I had in my bathroom, so it's just what I started reaching for the most over these last few weeks. And that's typically all I've been doing in terms of makeup over July and August. If I want my lips to be a little bit more elevated, I will line my lips with the Rhode Peptide Lip Shape in the color Lit. This was on my favorites, I believe, from May and June. I'm still completely loving this one a lot. And then in terms of perfume, I think I mentioned that one of my favorite perfumes was the chasing scent perfume called Tea Services. And I am still absolutely loving that perfume, still reaching for that one a lot. But the one I have been reaching for the most over these past couple of months is Diptyque's L'Eau Papier. I've mentioned this perfume a lot on this channel as well as my perfume channel. And I hate to say that my perfume channel is completely neglected at this point, but I do have a video over there where I talk about this perfume, and I'm pretty sure I have a video on this channel where I've talked about this perfume. So I will link to that because this video has gotten way too long. But I will say that if you love mimosa, this is definitely a perfume to check out. I am still completely obsessed with this perfume. I have the EDT, and then I also have the solid perfume. And if you are a solid perfume lover, I cannot recommend this little solid enough. I think it might be limited edition. So if you are interested in this little solid compact, I just cannot recommend this highly enough. So definitely get your hands on this one. I'm pretty sure it's limited edition. Even if it's not, I would still highly recommend getting your hands on it because I just think it is so beautiful. I love this little compact. I think it's really, really special. So treat yourself or give this to somebody who you know loves mimosa, because it is just so special. Absolutely love it. And this has just been a favorite of mine for so many months now, and I'm still just completely in love with it. And I'm kind of surprised at myself that I have not fatigued of it yet, but I'm just still completely in love with it. So that wraps it up for my favorites over these past couple of months. I hope you enjoyed it. I would love to hear what you have been loving as our summer season is wrapping up here. And if you like this video, please do give me a thumbs up. And if you have not subscribed, I would love it if you would do so. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.